some sort possibly of seeing some sort of a spin up. All right, let me go over back to Chandler Jordan here in the Weather Center with more, and I'll make my way back over to the wall.
Yeah, so remember, we do have a tornado warning that's in effect until 4:30. The center of circulation that we're watching closely is now making its way into the central portions of Smith County. This area of rotation last signature just to the south and west of Tyler Pounds, and this will continue to move off to the east at 40 miles per hour. So we'll go ahead and zoom out a little bit so we can get an accurate storm track and get some more communities that need to immediately make it into their safe spot. Remember, away from any type of exterior door, window, anything that could be blown in by strong surges of wind. And that would put this particular rotation in downtown Tyler by 4:14 p.m., into Bascom by 4:21, Chapel Hill by 4:25. This gets into Browning by 4:33, Overton by 4:42, into Kilgore by 4:52, and into Danville by 4:56. So you folks in Overton, Kilgore, Danville, you're not under a tornado warning right now. If you live there or if you have some family that lives in these areas, go ahead and give them a heads up and let them know that a tornado warned storm is headed their way. And we'll continue to closely monitor this area of rotation, and we'll zoom back in and get some communities that immediately need to head to their designated safe spot where, remember again, far interior portions of your home on the lowest floor that you can possibly get to. Now, our CBS19 radar storm relative velocity product shows that we have our center of the circulation associated with this tornado warned storm now just to the south of Tyler Pounds, and this will continue to move off to the east towards downtown Tyler. So we'll zoom on in and go ahead and get some ideas of street roads. This is going to be moving right along the loop, Chandler Highway. I'm going to turn the lightning off so we can get a little bit of a better idea. Patton Lane definitely need to be in your safe spot right now, and this will continue, Brett, to move closer and closer towards downtown in the loop.
Yeah, and then if you can zoom out just a little bit down toward Coffee City, this second area of rotation I was just looking at appears to be getting a little bit stronger down toward noonday, more station here. So we have two areas of rotation that we're watching, the one up by Tyler Pounds, and then this second one toward noonday. And in fact, it looks like a third area is trying to spin up here along this one cell that's kind of moving from the west to the east throughout East Texas, moving into Smith County right now. We're hearing very big raindrops on the station, on the television station roof currently. We'll wait and see if we get any type of maybe some hailstones out of that. It does look like there is, at least from that camera vantage point that you can see next to us, there may be some hail trailing along behind that heavy rain shaft that initially comes in. And then there's a little bit of a rain-free base, and then what looks like that curtain there looks like we're seeing maybe some hail on that cell. So this is a dangerous cell as it's coming into East Texas here this afternoon. Of course, we have the tornado watch until 9 o'clock this evening, but then we have the tornado warning now on top of that until 4:30. I have a feeling this is going to go on for a little while because this cell looks like it's got some strength to it, and it's working its way into the environment that would be supportive of a tornado. We've got a lot of juice in the atmosphere. We got a lot of energy in the atmosphere, and we have just enough wind shear or change of wind direction with speed and with height that it could get any type of thunderstorm just twisting a little bit once it begins to rotate or twist. And we're seeing that from our Titan indicator out here west of noonday. Once that twisting can start, then you got to worry about the possibility of a tornado being produced. So this is what we call a mesocyclone. Okay, so this tracks the spin inside of that thunderstorm. And we're going to click on this here, and we're going to see what kind of strength we're getting out of that. The heavy rain is now just moving into the loop area and over downtown Tyler at this time. So there is some pretty good sized hail with this cell. I would definitely, if you could, downstream here in Tyler or east of Tyler out toward New Chapel Hill, get your car into a carport or under some cover. The probability that this cell is going to have some hail in that is 100%. The probability of severe hail, meaning at least the size of quarters, is up to 70%. And the tornado impact on that, low at this time, but the wind and the hail impact are growing along with the heavy rain impact. So we've got a strengthening thunderstorm as it moves into Smith County. Behind that, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect, and then you have that tornado warning until 4:30. In fact, that circulation down toward Moore Station with our Titan indicator just strengthened up a little bit. It was in that low to medium range. Now it's in that medium range. It's solidly there in a medium strength rotation that's occurring right now in that cell toward Moore Station. Noonday is the other cell where anywhere you see the reds, that's going away from the radar, the greens are going back toward the Shreveport radar. So we've got a rotation right in here. It looks like it's fairly broad. It's west of 155 right now, just west of the loop. In fact, if we can zoom in, Chandler, on this area here and kind of maybe get into some neighborhoods, it's probably southeast of Tyler Pounds. So that would take it a little closer to the spur 164, spur 364, and then out toward County Road 1125. So it's really just to the south of the airport currently, and moving to the east. There's the loop, so it's going to enter west side of the loop. There's West Elm. If you live on West Elm, we need you to be in your shelter right now. Again, you can take your radio with you and then follow along by listening to Kicks 105.7, Jack FM 106.5, La Invasora, or The Ranch 104.1. And you can follow along, or you've got your CBS19 app and you're watching the app, and you can watch us as we stream this live at CBS19.tv. But that tornado warning has about 23 minutes to go. It's right over Highway 31 right now, just as it gets closer to this county road here. It's going to be County Road 1125. So if you live near County Road 1125, southeast of Tyler Pounds, please be in your shelter right now because this cell is moving right overhead. Let's take a look outside from our studio camera here, and you'll be able to see the rain, heavy rain falling right now. This is going to be our Chase Bank building camera, and we have this pointed off to the north more so. So you'll see Bubba's there at the bottom of the screen. That's going to be the loop in the church there as Broadway runs north. So this is looking over that shopping center near Broadway and the loop, and you can see the visibility is basically down to zero as the heavy rain continues to fall in that area. In fact, the visibility continues to drop with that cell, and now we're starting to see some wind also. And you can see along with that, just the way that wind is shaking that camera, maybe some small hailstones being picked up in the camera's vantage point, certainly a possibility. Again, tornado warning goes until 4:30 for Smith County and the city of Tyler currently, with that circulation just to the southeast of the airport, but quickly moving toward the Loop and Earl Campbell Parkway, South Lyons Avenue, over toward West Irwin, up toward Wexford Road, any of those areas. And I think we're starting to hear a little bit of hail here. So again, next scan that comes up will probably jump this circulation even closer to the loop. In fact, the way it looks outside right now, this circulation is probably sitting right on top of us at this time. But there's downtown Tyler, there's Irwin, there is Confederate Avenue, West Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. You've got Old Jacksonville Road. This is moving right over those areas right now. So please be in your shelter, staying in your shelter until we give the all clear, because this is a pretty serious storm as it's coming through. In fact, it has strengthened as it moved into Smith County. It became severe thunderstorm warned out in Henderson County, but it has gained strength now as it has moved. And it looks like that, Chandler, that circulation may have tightened up even a little bit more, maybe widen that out just a little bit for perspective. But
switched over here. If we could we get over to our studio camera? I'm in the process of flipping those. There we go. Yeah, you can see what appears to be some rain and even some hail coming into the camera lens due to the just blowing and how blustery and gusty the winds have really picked up with this leading edge of thunderstorms, Brett.
Yeah, it's not going to last long. Once the cell goes through, the skies clear out pretty quickly behind it, and you can almost see that on our camera here from our CBS19 studio rooftop looking off to the southwest. Now, I don't see anything that's really concerning in terms of lowerings, but certainly there is a rain curtain that is pretty impressive at this time right here. We do go into a little bit of clearing back here, but I don't see anything that is troubling at this time. There is some condensation occurring back here where it's cleared a little bit. The base of the cloud is back here. But what you're seeing in the front is just all of this rain and wind, and likely these bigger chunks here, probably some small hail that the camera is picking up, or just very large raindrops. And with all the moisture in the air today, that would certainly not be out of the question to see that. But you can just see how this whole thing is just kind of moving. The whole cell itself is just kind of moving right over top of us here at the television station. Again, wouldn't be concerned about this. What sometimes you have here is warm, humid air rising, and cooler air is falling out of the back of the thunderstorm, and so you get a little bit of, we'll call this a scud, or a scary looking clouds, and that'll be rising up. Here's a more little scud, okay? So you see stuff like that. You'll see a lot of stuff like that on the back side of that, but what we're going to look for if we're going to look for a tornado would be some sort of lowering, some sort of wall cloud, and if that wall cloud then had an extension, which of course would become the tornado, but I don't want you to be able to see that because I want you to be in your shelter at this time. But you can see how quickly things have quieted down. Maybe we switch over to our other studio camera from Broadway, looking back up to the north, and this is going to be
that one.
Yeah, for the Chase Bank building camera. But you can see here on CBS19 radar right now, and I'll go over and kind of point out what we're looking at. So we got a lot of what appears to be, reds and greens next to each other here. So there's likely a lot of wind going on inside this storm right now. We've seen that on our cameras. So if not a tornado, there possibly could be some just wind gusts that are being produced that are stronger than 50, 55 miles an hour. Maybe even up to 60 miles an hour and perhaps even stronger than that. But Chandler's panning the camera over. And this again is going to be our Tyler, this is our Chase Bank building camera. We were looking off to the southwest, I think now. And boy, that sounds like we're getting some hail here at the TV station at this time. Let's go and take a look at our indicator here, our Titan indicator, which is picking up some rotation within the tornado warned cell. And that maximum hail size right now has come down just a little bit, down to quarters, but we still have that probability of a 100% chance that we have hail within that cell, 50% chance that it's at least the size of quarters as that warning continues until 4:30. Glen Eagles Drive, please be in your safe place. Tornado impact is lessened. Wind impact is also lessened. The hail impact has stayed about the same since our last scan, and the flooding impact has come down just a little bit. So Glen Eagles Drive, Alberta, we need you to be in your safe place. There's a whole lot of wind just being picked up here by our velocity. We're looking at storm relative velocity. So what we're doing is we're taking the motion of the storm, which is basically to the southwest, from the southwest to the northeast at about 60 miles an hour. We're taking that out of the equation and simply looking at what the precipitation or the hailstones inside the thunderstorm are doing. So that reflectivity is going back to the radar, and it is definitely seeing some of these hailstones or raindrops being pushed away in red or being pulled toward the radar site in green. If we didn't have any rotation at all, we'd have probably all green. But because we're seeing these reds next to green, there are different areas here where we could potentially have some rotation that could at any moment, even though it's radar indicated, at any moment. We learned this in Mississippi last week. At any moment, you can have this spin up into a tornado. This is a very volatile environment here this afternoon. Chandler?
Yeah, Brett, and we do have a couple of damage reports coming into our National Weather Service chat room with some emergency managers that are throughout parts of Smith County. We do have one report of damage. Let me scroll up here in the chat. Some tree damage reported on the loop near Copeland Road and Hubbard Middle School, which I know there's some construction going on there. So trees down near Copeland Road and Hubbard Middle School. Also limbs all across Paluxy Drive with hail upwards of 3/4 of an inch in size, which is close to quarters. I'd say a little bit bigger than nickel or right around nickel sized hail for that in particular. Otherwise, though, our latest warnings right now, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag that was just issued by the National Weather Service. And this tornado possible tag pretty much means that there are areas of rotation that aren't strong enough for a tornado warning. And you can see where our tornado warning was just canceled for Smith County. But certainly, we do have enough rotation worth monitoring. And over the last few cycles, Brett, I've noticed that it looks like we're kind of seeing this rotation, pulse up in strength, and it appears to be going through a phase of either trying to recycle or maybe weakening.
All right, so let's go back to reflectivity, and I don't want to go off the air just quite yet because we may be getting something where you just said we're seeing this whole cell recycle. In fact, if you look down toward Frankston, there may be a little bit of a rear flank, a flanking line of thunderstorms trying to form there, and that sometimes can lead up to another spin up. So let's time this out for everyone. White House is just about to get it. Bullard right now is in it. Browning is also in this cell, and Frankston is really starting to see some of the brunt, at least of the hail, the heavy wind, or the heavy rain, and the high winds that are coming in here. So Chandler, this is moving to the east at what
about 50 miles an
50
hour.
miles an hour,
close
so
to-
it's racing eastward here. So Overton, Henderson, even though Henderson is outside of the severe thunderstorm warning at this time, Henderson is still in that path by maybe 5 o'clock. But ARP would be really imminent here in about 8 minutes, Overton within 15 minutes, Turnertown by 4:37, Price by 4:45, and then Henderson leading up to 5 o'clock, along with Durgin and Tatum as it moves eastward. So the heaviest portion of the storm right now is near Pointer, but look how quickly back here to the west, Brownsboro, Moore Station, things are letting up quickly. And as we showed you on the camera, our camera looking back to the southwest of or northwest of Tyler, it's already clearing back behind. So once this goes by, you're in the clear for the rest of the night. We just have to get through this 15-minute to 20 to 25-minute period of extreme weather that comes through here. So White House, I would be in my shelter because there it is. There's a broad rotation at White House. And on reflectivity, I don't know if you noticed that hook trying to form there. So there's a lot of wind coming. Here's a nice little inflow notch here. There's a lot of strong wind being pushed down and out of the thunderstorm. And the thunderstorm likely has some very cold air aloft, so that's falling out, pushing in the direction that Chandler is pointing to here. And then it's being pulled back into the circulation. So as that occurs, we start to see that possibly tighten up, and then you can have a tornado spin up in no time. So ARP, please be in your safe place. Overton and Turnertown, please, let's get to our safe place. White House right now, it would be just north of White House on 110, right between White House and Tyler, coming up the highway near toll 49. There's the circulation crossing right in here. Okay, so that is, again, winds that are coming toward and winds going away in the red. Now, it's not strong, but it's right by Copeland. Near Gresham, it's just passed over Gresham at this time, and it's headed over FM 756 and 848, and then County Road 2123 would all be in, and the neighborhoods on the north side of White House would also be in range of that. And that means if you know anybody out at Lake Tyler, get them off the water. If they haven't already, they need to get off the water real quick before this thunder and lightning and this whole cell moves into that area. And lightly, it's probably just a matter of seconds until it's out on Lake Tyler if it's not already there. But over toward ARP, you've got a couple of minutes before that cell arrives there. New Chapel Hill, very heavy rain coming down at this time. So again, the tornado warning was canceled. It's been replaced by the severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 5 o'clock, and that does include Smith County. And Chandler, are there any other counties included? I think Smith County was the only county included in that warning, or maybe Henderson County going back west.
Yeah, we do have very small slivers of Cherokee, Gregg, and Rusk counties that are all included in this warning. We'll kind of zoom out and get a bigger picture here. But this line of thunderstorms will continue to move across East Texas as we head over the next couple of hours. Right now, I'll turn the lightning back on as well so we can get an idea of where the strongest parts of these thunderstorms might be. And I'd say more concern, Brett, it looks like we do have some parts of this thunderstorm near Frankston to the west of Mount Selman. Lightning's picked up considerably the last scan or two, and we might have a part of the thunderstorm that's trying to separate itself and get a little more organized in the rotation department. Yeah,
it looks like it's tried a couple different times. Of course, it could easily be going through that reorganization process, and the tornado impact has come up on our Titan indicator just a little bit. So has the hail size. And maybe we're seeing a lot of lightning because the hail size has gotten a little bit more ice in the thunderstorm, more negative particles versus positive charges, and so you can create more lightning. And right there over Frankston, so I know this is a severe thunderstorm warning, but if you're in Frankston or Mount Selman, I'd head to my shelter and ride this one out in a shelter just to let it pass. I mean, what's a half hour inside a closet or in a bathroom kind of listening to us or watching us on CBS19 streaming, or just listening to the radio and checking back in, but at least you're staying safe as the storm passes over. Pointer, you're fine right now, even though you have a severe thunderstorm warning that for the next couple of minutes, but really that circulation has passed and crossed away from Pointer. Even back to the west of that, everything is starting to clear out, so that's good. But Jacksonville, Mount Selman, we have Bullard, which is still getting hit with some tremendous rain right now, likely some hail, and our Titan indicator shows another circulation up here, still over 110 near White House at this time. In fact, that's over 69. So that's just west of Highway or White House, closer to Flint, I should say. And that is going to cross, again, over the north side of White House, similar to what this circulation near New Chapel Hill also did. So there are several broad circulations within these thunderstorms moving through here right now. Again, the lightning came up, the hail size came up just a little bit, and the circulation tried to tighten up around Frankston. So we have that severe thunderstorm warning until 5 o'clock. We did have a tornado warning until 4:30, but the National Weather Service did cancel that warning as the rotation quickly became, I guess, a little more broad, a little more stretched out, a little weaker. But they did keep the tornado possible tag on that, meaning that at any time that can happen. Severe thunderstorm warnings can and sometimes do produce tornadoes, even though you're under severe thunderstorm warning. So sometimes we will tell you with a severe thunderstorm warning to go to your shelter. And this is one of these instances where I would just be in my shelter until we saw the threat pass. So right now, White House is probably, the northwest side of White House, probably the most imminent, or I would say has the highest probability to see some storm damage out of this with high winds, definitely some lightning and heavy rainfall. And we can't rule out that there couldn't be a quick spin up. So it would be right here between Noonday and White House, north of Bullard, would be the area. Otherwise, the rest of the cell looks like it's calmed down quite a bit down toward Frankston. It's trying down at Frankston. So we're getting this flanking line of thunderstorms here. That bright pink is likely a hail core, and every time it flashes, you can just see how bright that hail core is. So we're likely seeing some quarter-sized hail in there, maybe even bigger. Our Titan indicator was suggesting closer to ping pong ball-sized hail a little bit ago. So that's another thing that you have to be concerned about. Hail is going to rip the leaves off of trees, plants, and can do damage to your car. So if you can somehow get that car into cover, that would be the best thing you can do. Troop is downstream from this cell, so it's going to move into Troop. It's going to move into Blackjack. Even if it's not warned by the time it gets to Troop, it's going to pack quite the punch as it moves into Troop and Blackjack, with winds in excess of 50 miles an hour, approaching 60 miles an hour. Now, right now, toward Mount Selman, here we go again, another one of these inflow notches trying to form around that circulation. And so that's just north of Jacksonville. And you can see that little bit of red against the green. So it's fairly weak, but a little rotation showing up between Bullard and Mount Selman. And Chandler is circling that right there. So if you live between Bullard and Mount Selman, please be in your shelter right now. Again, severe thunderstorm warned, but it doesn't mean that we can't have a tornado warning pop up off of this suddenly. So we're just trying to keep everybody safe as these cells pass over and through the area. The circulation that our Titan indicator shows the circulation back here around Coffee City to Frankston, and it has weakened a little bit. It was in the orange, it was in the medium range. It's back down to yellow, which is a low to medium. We have essentially 5 different categories to look at. We look at green, that's weak. We look at yellow, that's a low to medium. We look at orange, and then we will go red with a high to medium strength of rotation within the cell, and then it'll click over and it'll start showing a little tornado indicator. So we have not seen that yet today, and that's certainly good news. By the way, this is, I believe, the 3rd time this month that we've had tornado warnings here in Smith County. At this time, I think we are we're almost pros at what we're doing here. So that's why when we say we need to go to the shelter, even though we haven't had anything of significance yet this year, but please just don't let this time be that one. Sometimes, in the weather world, we talk about, there weren't a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings, but if there's one and it's a tornado warning and it does damage or people get hurt, then that's the one that everybody remembers, and that counts as a bad storm. So we're just trying to keep everybody away from that scenario if possible. We don't want anybody getting hurt with these cells as they cross through here. Lightning is certainly, and if you were watching Chandler last night, he was showing you the lightning really was picking up as it was moving south of Tyler and getting down closer to Overton and Selman City. The lightning was increasing, especially on the southern portions of this cell. For instance, look at Teaselsville. You can see all of that lightning over toward Mount Selman and Frankston. This is a noisy storm down here toward Frankston, and it has that little bit of circulation, and now it's weakened a little bit more. Now it does have a strong updraft, but no longer rotating, at least according to our Titan indicator. So we have a strong updraft, likely producing some hail, but the rotation in that has now weakened to the point where our Titan indicator would suggest that the rotational couplet has weakened to where it's not picking up at all. All right, let's go back over to Chandler. He's in the Weather Center. Chandler?
Yeah, so we need to continue to keep a close eye on these thunderstorms as they move farther to the east, and we'll kind of plan out where these particular tornado or severe thunderstorm warnings are expected to head as we head throughout the next half hour. So this severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect until 5 o'clock. It's currently 4:26, about to turn 4:27 right now, and this severe thunderstorm warned storm is moving off to the east at about 50 miles per hour. So this will put our severe thunderstorm warned storm into Overton by 4:30. You are in the polygon, and again, better safe than sorry. I would say just if you can make it to your safe spot, wouldn't hurt to do so. And again, like Brett had mentioned, what's 15 to 20 minutes of riding a storm out? Because once we get rid of these storms and they move past you, you will be severe weather free through the rest of the evening and into the overnight hours. This will continue to move eastward into Kilgore by 4:35 p.m. Farther down the line, we don't have a warning for these just yet, but there is a possibility that we could see another severe thunderstorm warning downstream of what we have right now, and that would include Henderson by 4:49 p.m., Easton by 4:54 p.m. into Pine Hill by 5:07, and then out into Grand Bluff by 5:14 and Carthage by 5:20. So if you got some folks or anyone you might know that lives in somewhere such as Pine Hill, Grand Bluff, Carthage, all these areas, go ahead and give them a heads up as to what's headed their way, because these severe thunderstorm warnings do have the history of producing rotation strong enough that the National Weather Service has issued tornado warnings in the past on these systems. So we'll zoom back in and see where we've got the heaviest of rain right now throughout parts of Smith and far northern Cherokee counties. Right now, the heaviest of rain when we turn the lightning off, you can see, is in White House still, also in Chapel Hill and Bullard a little farther to the east. In the polygon, you folks in ARP, you're really going to have your rain pick up. I'd say if it hasn't already picked up, at any moment now, your rain will really pick up. You folks in Overton, New London, Turnertown, Price, also, Brett, rain will pick up, very heavy rain at that over the next 5 to 10 minutes.
All right, and I think what we're going to do here is wrap up our coverage here by 4:30, but just brought to my attention, this is the time of day that a lot of kids are getting out of school. You might be going to pick up kids from school. If there's a way that you could shelter at the school, wait for instance, in White House, to just kind of stay there and wait till the storm passes overhead, that would be the best case scenario. Also in Bullard over toward Troop, down toward and out toward Henderson. There's a few minutes. You still have some time to get home, but I'd make it pretty quick. Kilgore, going to see at least a weaker portion of that storm moving in to that area there. But Noonday and Chandler, and there was that circulation over Chandler that prompted the tornado warning. But again, that expired or will expire, was supposed to expire at 4:30, so that's why we're staying on until 4:30. Meantime, we do have the severe thunderstorm warning until 5 o'clock, and that is for southeastern parts of Smith County. Also, northern Cherokee County is in that severe thunderstorm warning, and also a portion of Gregg County, Kilgore, up to the city of Longview.
Really
all right.
Quick,
yeah.
In the National Weather Service chat, some limb and tree damage in near Grove Club Lakes south of White House. So south of White House, we do have some very gusty winds, and this is also going to contribute to some damage reports across the region. So again, south of White House near Grove Club Lake, there are reports of some trees and limbs down in the area. So please be careful if you have to navigate that over the next few hours.
All right, and so that's consistent with what we saw up in Tyler with some wind and tree limb damage and some branches down. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for now. If we have another tornado warning, of course, we'll come back on the air. It would be great if we could take our picture outside here. This is going to be from our Tyler camera, and you can see some they're scary looking clouds right now, but the storm has passed to the east of Tyler. These lower clouds are just going to move on through here, and eventually we'll see things improving as we head into the evening. We're going to join Judge Judy now, but we thank you for watching our special coverage, our severe weather threat here on CBS 19, and we will see you at 5 o'clock.